Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today with a quick update video here in regards to what it takes to min-max all of the annihilation raids here at the highest level difficulty. I had a chance to finally unlock and build up my Sebastian Shaw yesterday upon the shards that were available from the antimatter store. So was able to finally build up my Hellfire Club and now showcase for you guys here all the teams utilized for annihilation, right? I guess we could quickly show you my Alpha Flight as well, but they're not really as important because the spotlights are quite easy. Whereas annihilation, if you're going ahead and doing this, and keep in mind, guys, they haven't released the Omega version of these raids just yet, but if you're able to do all the nodes, you should be close to that 967 million mark, which is actually the annihilation heroic completion of all the nodes here, as you can see, right? So the good news is that with some of the team levels, you'll see, I'll showcase for you that a lot of them you can actually just auto, but the Hellfire Club was the one I was uncertain on because I haven't really built them up as high as some of the other teams, as you'll see. Reason being is because some of these teams have already been built up for other events and whatnot. So hopefully this can be an insightful video for you guys to leverage value, and as well which raid teams to focus on. Remember, now that we have obviously a new mutant team and a new a new tech team being replaced with Insidious 6 coming out right now, the next likely team to be replaced is very well going to be Mystic. So caution you guys on building Night Stalkers, but having said that, Night Stalkers are a really good team, and just something to be on the horizon, right? I definitely foresee both Night Stalkers and as well as Alpha Flight being replaced in the foreseeable future, just because of the way that how long the teams have been in the game. Usually most teams are replaced in a year. Night Stalkers is getting to that mark, and then Alpha Flight has already been over a year. So just something to be on the lookout for there. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's talk about all the team levels here and the characters I personally recommend if you're also trying to get the 100% daily on your raids here, especially for annihilation, or trying to work your way up and see which characters are the ones that we should be prioritizing. I start off with a blank slate here in the Insidious 6 because I don't have any of them unlocked yet, but obviously that's going to be the team I want to build up so that way we can partake in the highest level of the tech section. But having said that, if you don't have Insidious, Orcus is the go-to option now. Having said that, Orcus, remember, a lot of folks have brought in previous Orcus members into the global villain section for Age of X. That's why I have my Sentinel, Nimrod, and Lady Deathstrike built up to gear tier 20. We also have a little bit of savings there with Omega Sentinel, and Scientist Supreme at gear tier 19 is a good investment right there because she is a little bit more costly, but the fact that she can actually provide the revives and obviously the trauma and whatnot to generate ability energy and so forth, very important, guys. So it's hard to say if I would build this team up if you're just planning to do the get-go from Insidious, because they're still a really good global villains team. Outside of Age of X, you can even bring them into Dark Dimension. I know I sure did when it was previously released. So just something to be on the lookout for. They're a really good team, even though they faded the meta here in terms of what's needed for daily raids. They can still provide value if you're planning to go that route, especially given the cheapness of Lady Deathstrike as well. High damage and very cheap tech gear. We have the Uncanny Avengers. This is required for actually 2 raids, both in Spotlight and Annihilation, but Jean Grey is maxed up all the way to gear tier 20 because of her inclusion with my Age of X global hero section. Highly recommend, guys, but otherwise you can save a little bit with Beast there because he doesn't need to be the most prominent, as he's more of a kit character with his heals and energy and buffs being provided to the team. Storm at gear tier 19 in addition to Hercules and Falcon. I just wanted to save a bit. You don't need to bring these guys all the way up to the max, but if you're interested in Crucible and War, then it might make some more sense to bring up some of these key characters that have that double dip synergy there. So just something to look out for there. We have Thunderbolts here. Thunderbolts, not really a leading star here. This is one where you can save a bit. So Hyperion, Songbird, and Victorian Hand are the 3 most important characters. Ghost and Taskmaster do have their moment to shine during the matches, but it's gonna be these core 3 that basically provide that all-around core function of the team, right? So I can sim the nodes required for Thunderbolts with this team respectively right now, unless they bump up the difficulty or add more nodes. We'll see in the meantime, but this is a good stopping ground for me because You know, they're not comparable to Vigilante. They just don't have as much value. They're not as prominent in other game modes. They are absolutely crushing it right now in Cosmic Crucible, though. So depending on the room that you have set up with them, they can be very good. But again, it just doesn't really make sense to over events if you don't need to, right? Vigilantes, oh my goodness, this is probably hands down one of the best teams in the game. So if you guys can bring these characters up, or at least some of them for Age of X City section, highly recommend. You can bring them into Dark Dimension. They were useful in the Fallen Dimension. They're just so useful in all their game modes. I mean, and they're scary in War and Crucible. So build these guys up. I have Daredevil Modern, Hitmonkey, and Silver Sable all the way to the max because of the city for Age of X. But honestly speaking, Punisher is a very viable option as well because he's cheap. So just plenty of things to be said for Vigilante. They're just, they counter a lot of the metas, and that's why they're so good. Night Stalkers, we kind of already touched on it earlier before with that pre-ramble, but I just want to once again reiterate that this team is the one to be on the lookout for a potential replacement in the near term or future here in a few months, I would say at least. So Blade and Oath, a very, very powerful tandem and duo in the game. If you could just build these two up, I would highly recommend, because they have uses in other game modes, right? Including Age of X, including Dark Dimension. So just their synergies together without needing Agatha and obviously the other two members here. As you can see, I saved a bit there, Gear Tier 18. This is where I stop. Gear Tier 18 is where I ultimately stop if I see savings and I don't need to build them up, especially if you have that core 3 of Agatha, Blade, and Oath driving really the function of the team, right? And the other characters are really just there for support. So I can sim everything as well with Night Stalkers right now. I did the same as well previously when we did have the Orcus raids as well. Okay, so last but not least, we have Hellfire. Oh, sorry, that is not the current version of my Hellfire Club because it has Mephisto. So let me just go ahead and replace that there. But yeah, Hellfire Club, very similar both. The good news with Hellfire right now, guys, is that I actually do not have any of my characters there. Oh, sorry, misclick there. I do not have any of these characters here at Gear Tier 20. So that's the good news right there. This team right now is giving us really, really good value for what you're going for, and especially doing the nodes that's required. So you can see right there, we have Emma Frost, Rachel, and Azazel being Gear Tier 19. That's good enough. And then we have Madeline Pryor and Sebastian. Now, having said that, I played the nodes. They were very, very smooth. However, they are squishier than I'd like. I probably will build up Sebastian as well to Gear Tier 19. And Madeline's cheap, so maybe this full team will be expected to be a Gear Tier 19 for myself. Just that way I can just daily auto sim every single day, right? So and then I don't need to actually play the match. But when I played the match anyways, just to be safe about it, quite smooth. They're just a little squishier, and there is a little bit more nuance involved because remember, Rachel can spread stuns, but you have to be playing her to know how to do that, right? So yeah, as you can see, they got by with 3.6 million, so you can definitely save a bit if you're expecting to actually play the round. Otherwise, if you want to sim it, I highly recommend probably Gear Tier 19 at least for all of them. I don't know about Gear Tier 20, but if you are planning to bring some of these characters up for Age of X, then would recommend. And then lastly, we have Alpha Flight here. As you can see, I saved a lot here just building up North Star. I'm just not for it right now because I know that they're gonna get replaced, and it doesn't really make sense to have that investment there, guys. So there you have it. All the raid teams right now that are in the game and doing the highest level difficulty, and you're able to min-max and save a bit there. Hopefully you can see where I focus my resources, especially being free to play. I like to save a bit and obviously think about the big picture, especially now that we have Insidious, and who knows what's around the corner in terms of the raid perspective. But either way, I'll give you guys an update on that. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.